Welcome back, everybody, to Santa Fe Fashion Week, Fashion Behind the Curtain. I'm your host, Stephen Cuomo, executive producer of Santa Fe Fashion Week. I'm really excited to have online Tracy. And Tracy, you're in New York. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Dizon. I'm a fashion designer, but I also work as a fashion teacher, educator in New York, and I'm very happy. I'm also a millionaire. I'm wearing so many hats, but like the main thing is like my true calling is to be a fashion designer. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you on as well. So we had talked earlier, when we booked this podcast, and let's start off with like the education side because I know you work with a lot of students and teaching about fashion design. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, my pleasure. So I work for a nonprofit that caters to. I think we are the biggest after school program in New York. We cater to like 100 almost 140 public schools like all throughout the city, and I create the program for the fashion design program of the after school program. So that's many programs in one sentence. That's funny.
No, that's cool. So is it from like A to Z? Is it like creating illustrations and working with different textiles? Can you tell us a little bit about the curriculum?
Yeah, so like mine is more specialized because like we already have like those basic from illustration, color blending and like and getting to know fabrics. But like I think especially with the younger kids because we cater from K to 12, um I think like my approach is making activities that are really engaging, like making accessories, customizing a t-shirt, making the Christmas sweater. So like it's really fun. Like you want them to be engaged and not to like jump in the hard part of like the college level fashion stuff. So like we want them to be engaged and like have fun and want to have it more. And as they get like they level up and that's it. So like yeah.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your background in fashion design.
Yeah, so like my background in fashion design is I took up clothing technology. It's a bachelor of science in University of the Philippines. So like it's kind of more engineering product line manufacturing level. So like there's a lot of management and a lot of technical. Although I'm always kind of the creative girl, like I get like really caught up with like the engineering part. My creative part still kind of like shines along. So like I appreciate and I really value the learnings that I had like in my college because like those are the things that I don't um pay attention that much, like the technical design, the management, but I love that like I am able to like work in a space where I know all the the ins and outs of management and also the creative part. So it's kind of like a balancing act. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So do you have a collection out right now? I know you're busy with your other, like you said, wearing all these different hats. Are you designing right at this moment?
Well, right now, like so, I have done New York Fashion Week. I already launched two collections since 2017, and then pandemic happened, and like I had to like refocus my my direction into like having like a teaching teaching gig here and there. But right now I'm kind of like working on something that's kind of inspired by my whole um my whole experience in moving to New York because 5 years ago I just moved in New York 5 years ago. So like my other collection were inspired by my home country, my travels. So this time it's New York inspired.
That's cool. Yeah, it's funny. In past podcasts, I always talk about the Anthony Bourdain,
Yeah.
and the culture with food and stuff like that. His show, Parts Unknown. And so you go from Philippines to New York. I think culture has a lot to do, right, with the way people create their fashions.
Yes, I think like that's my overall kind of like values and brand. Like even when I design educational programs in fashion, I always make sure that there's the cultural aspect of it. Like I always give a little bit of a social studies in every part of my fashion education programs, and it also goes aligned with my collection because I always explore different fabrics, different experiences, and a lot of research. Like my first collection was titled Miss Hanoi, so it's inspired by Vietnam, and I research about fabrics. I research about like the culture itself, because you cannot just jump in any fashion collection or any creative projects without knowing the culture. You have to respect where it's coming from, and how it's my perspective is not unanimous. Like I have to also learn the different perspective of like different cultures.
And so going back to working with students, so you write the curriculum, but do you actually work with the students? You have an opportunity to work directly with the students because
Yeah, because like, so again, I wear so many hats. There are days that I'm a teaching artist. I do murals with the kids. I train teachers at the same time. Sometimes I do the class itself.
oh,
So
okay.
I'm kind of like all mixed bag, and I love it. I love teaching. Like if there's something that I'm lucky enough, like I'm lucky that I get to live my fashion life in New York, which is my lifelong dream. But also like teaching is like it's challenging, especially classroom management, but it's something that like really, it's really purposeful, it's really fulfilling, that like I get to like pass on a little bit of my passion, a little bit of my skills, my talent to the younger generation.
So it goes to my next question. So going back to culture and fashion, do you see that through your students? Do you see they're bringing their cultural backgrounds to the fashion that you see them creating?
Yeah, yeah. So like um I made this whole program about like different, like I made them research. Like I had this special like activity that like I wanted to learn, because in my class is a mixed bag. There are lots of Hispanic, a lot of Asian, like different races in one class. So I made them research about like the different um the different perspective of beauty in their culture. So like it was such a nice experience of like sharing, because even as a teacher, I must admit I learned so much from my own students as well. So like different different perspective of beauty, different perspective of what is uh what is the shapes and different sizes of people that's considered beautiful in every culture. So, and again, and I like the idea that like everybody is like everybody's different, and then they can be more open-minded, learning different cultures.
What's your business model? Are you selling through boutiques? Are you
So
direct
like,
to consumer?
well, I'm not like,
Mhm.
I like, I'm more of the creative. I When I speak about the business, I kind of like, but like so in my past collections, it was more of made to order. It's bespoke. I launch a design, I launch a collection, and then like I consigned it with different stores around the world, but like it's not a lot, like in Manila, in Tokyo, and like I'm working on here, like I have some stores that I'm targeting. But like that's basically the business model that I want to do, that consignments and also bespoke.
So how do you go about reaching out to these different boutiques to do consignment? I know like bigger brands will have I guess sellers reps and they'll go to the trade
Oh,
shows and I guess they call on these different boutiques. How do you go about that?
I really did it the guerrilla way, because like I one of my favorite memories of like doing this is like I was in Harajuku in Tokyo, and I was doing a guerrilla fashion photo shoot, and then like a boutique, one boutique owner just came out and just saw like what is going on outside, and like they invited me in, and like just had a chit chat. It's kind of like I like it very personal,
Hmm.
because my style is like, as you can see, just a little bit of a preview of like how I look like. It's kind of very out there. So you kind of find your own niche people of like your own tribe of like specific stores, and then you create a relationship. Like for me, it's more of really a personal relationship, and I like it that way. Like maybe if I grow into a business empire, I would still want to have like a direct connections with my consignment
So
stores.
you have a lot of upfront cost, right? Because you're footing the bill, you're making it, you're shipping it to these different boutiques, and
Yeah.
then ideally they pay you in a timely manner.
Yeah, I mean, it works out because like it's not really like not it's not a lot, but like I my business format is like bespoke pieces and then like one offs. So um it's nice to have a base, a base in every like city, and I it also gives me a little bit of an excuse
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
go visit some countries that I really want to. So like it's kind of like a little bit of indulgent, but I guess I was able to sustain it in a way that I have my regular clients who would buy off half of my collection when I launch it. So I'm kind of covered.
Yeah, I just did a video. I'm doing like reasons, or I guess different fashion news and stuff like that. And it was about a designer from Europe that did a pop up shop in New York, and I think she spent like $300,000 for like a 3-month pop up, and now she actually has a permanent store in, I think, in Manhattan. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done like pop up boutiques?
Pop-up is like the cost of pop-up is like even more than the, the fees for pop-up shop is even more than the cost of my collection. So I mean, maybe my business format is like a little bit in a smaller scale, but
Hmm.
like that's also in the works of like I have been like checking out different stores in New York, and I kind of want to have like my own base of where I can like create and also have a showroom for myself. But
Hmm.
like I mean that's in the works. I'm grinding. I'm
Yeah.
hustling my New York ways and looking for fundings. So
Hmm.
it's been a constant trajectory. And also I have a son who is also a fashion student in FIT. So this is kind of like a generational plan for us.
In New York, are there shops that strictly do like pop up shops? Is that kind of situation, or
I
I guess not
um
like a
yeah, continue.
no, or yeah, either a pop up shop, or do you get to be able to maybe carve out a piece of a boutique and be able to do that? Do you see that around New York?
Yeah, I mean, if you like, I'm not really actively looking, but like if you can really see through like walk in a block like fashion fashion areas, there are a lot of like empty spaces right now. If you'll notice, like if you just really have like a keen eye,
Hmm.
so like the city's changing, it's constantly changing.
And as far as finding, we talked one of our early calls. We talked about, I think there's grants or grant writing and stuff like that. Is that for fashion designers, and is that strictly just for New York?
No, like there are so many grants that this is something that I learned when I moved here in the United States. Like I came from Manila, and like I guess as a fashion designer, I have always been like in the competitive side. Like I was in Project Runway in the Philippines.
Oh wow.
I competed in like I became a Philippine representative for the Japan Fashion Contest. It's always the contest that kind of beefs up your experience because you want to be seen globally. And then when I moved here in New York, going back to that, it's like I learned that like I feel so like this is such a blessed, um even with the hustle, this is
Hmm.
such a blessed space because there are actually a lot of foundations, there are a lot of like grants that give opportunity. It's up to you to find it. It's not gonna come to you, but like there are different for artists, for musicians, for fashion designers, different scales, and like for single moms, for parents who are artists. So I'm kind of constantly looking for those. And I guess be working in a nonprofit, I kind of gotten more aware of like there are fundings for different artists.
No, that's interesting. So for people that, obviously, like you said, K through 12, you're teaching those kind of people, but for people that, and obviously you go into fashion at any age, some people wait till retirement and, or, and then maybe they were able to follow the passion early on. And now that they're old and have some savings, they're going back to their creative side. That's kind of like what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Any advice for people that want to get into fashion that maybe don't necessarily live in New York? How to go about that?
No, like I think like fashion, like I just had like I just had like an interview like a month ago, and I was talking about the same thing, that like fashion can seem to be so intimidating. It seemed to be just like, like a little bit, it's not for everyone, but like that's where I want to focus on, in like making it engaging, or making it more inviting, that it's also for everyone, that like start with the things that makes you happy. I think that's one of the key advice that I can say, regardless of age.
Hmm.
Start with the things that make you happy, and grow from there, like follow your bliss.
Oh, that sounds good. So, are you leveraging the power of social media for your marketing? How are you doing your marketing so people
Yeah,
know about
like
your?
I I guess I it's so funny, because I guess I was one of like those first people, like not, I'm not really like claiming it officially, but um like maybe 15 years ago, I was one of the first ones who kind of like created the the online store on Facebook, like creating the using the power of like the fan page before. And then I kind of just like follow through like whatever is like the trend, like not really the trendy or the popular applications in the time. Like right now I only have Facebook and Instagram, but I just started with TikTok, and then I heard that like TikTok is closing down. I'm like, oh no, I just started
Yeah,
it.
I guess the Supreme Court voted today that they're gonna go with the ban, but then Biden's not gonna sign, like enforce it and let Trump deal with it. So I guess we're still gonna wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, but like
What?
I can see, like, especially I'm working with young kids or teenagers and middle schoolers. I can see the different pull of social media. So I try, and even when I'm working with my interns, like college students, some high school students, I kind of I kind of still like learn from them of the knack of like what you do. And then they teach me how to, like, oh, just make your videos short, and
Mhm,
it will get more engagement. So like I'm so hands on with these things, but like it took a while, but like I
mhm.
like it. I enjoy the little storytelling that I can do with the power of social media, because like my brand is not limited to just clothes. It's my brand is is also storytelling in different forms.
I'm working on this concept of fashion podcast connect. For people that want to connect with other fashion people to be on podcast, either you're a host or a guest or both. And I had done some research, and there's really no platforms. You really kind of like, reach out to people on LinkedIn and TikTok. So it's really a cold outreach. But I think storytelling is such a big part, and I think
Yeah.
podcast could be a way to get your brand out.
Yes, and also like I had the privilege of taking a short master class course on luxury branding. It's like, so I like we dissected, like, well, I'm sharing like I'm being a fashion nerd right now, but like I learned about like how luxury brands like Hermes and Gucci has like a strong foundation, because it's because of their storytelling that kind of creates like this strong depth of like foundation. So yeah.
No, I think that's good. It's funny. It's funny. This guy, his name's Seth Godin, and he's like the master of marketing, and he's really big about storytelling. And he also says like his thing is you can find him all over YouTube, but he goes to like people like us do things like this. So people that wear luxury fashion, you know, they go towards that kind of fashion. And then he talks about like people like certain people like to stay at Airbnbs and some people like to stay at hotels,
Hmm.
so connecting with those people, but there has to be a story behind that so people understand like why they're dealing with that kind of company, and then they could tell their friends why they're wearing that kind of fashion.
Yeah, like I think nowadays, well, I think I'm glad actually that like we are kind of outgrowing the fast fashion. We're kind of outgrowing the fast fashion of just not knowing the background of anything. I think the society is evolving of like wanting to know the story behind things, which is I think like something elevated, like it's more intelligent than just like super fast fashion, super fast commercialism and things like that. I mean, commercialism will always be there, but like it's better to have more depth.
Yeah, and buy more quality. I know it's interesting because I know like luxury brands right now are having their challenges with the economy and stuff like that, and maybe the younger generation don't care as much about luxury fashion. It's funny, I like in real estate, there was a thing when they had a thing called McMansions, so everybody
Mhm.
wanted these mansions, but they like they're like fast fast mansions, they weren't like really
Yeah.
big mansions. So you had McMansions, and then you had fast fashion and then, and so the younger generation, I was talking to a young guy the other day and they were having like a end of year sale at I think H&M or something like that, and they had
Mhm.
these coats for like $20. And I didn't really want to tell them that, it's and I think I don't think, 'cause some people are gonna argue like, "Oh, well, maybe that's all he can afford." I think the kid could afford more,
Mhm.
um, but he just saw like, "Oh, it's only $20." But I'm thinking like he doesn't realize like what crap it is that he's buying.
Mhm.
It's not gonna really last that long, and it's just gonna end up in the landfill because there's no,
Yeah.
you know, I think like eBay is growing really fast because there is sustainable fashion. People
Yes.
like what they have, and there's still life left in that garment. But if you're buying crap to begin with, there's really no resale value to sell on eBay.
Yeah.
It's just like maybe you drop off at a thrift store or something like that. So
Yeah, you're creating more like you're creating more waste and as a human being, you're adding to the waste. But like as a designer, I guess like my goal and my philosophy towards that is like create things that people would aspire to buy. Like you just keep on creating. Well, of course, it's a little bit like challenging because like we don't have infinite funding to create things, but for me like as a designer, I keep thinking that create things that I myself would want to buy, that like rather than like become an aspirational kind of brand that like, oh, and I met a lot of customers and clients that they would add, like they would send me an email that, oh, I couldn't afford it yet, but like after 2 years they would be ordering something for me, and then that's kind of like really something very sweet and very inspirational as well.
no, no, it is like it's gonna cost the consumer a bit more money, but in the
Hmm.
long run, it's really saving them money because they have something of a quality piece that they can
Yeah,
wear.
and like I have this one she's like one of my crazy rich Asian regular client, and I am just so flattered that like even if we haven't made like purchase, like I haven't made anything for her in the last 5 years, but she would still tag me wearing she's wearing my stuff all the time. And like
Mhm.
yeah, that's like the goal, that like you don't have to like just throw away one thing then and wear you can keep wearing them because they're quality pieces.
That's great. Well, I really do appreciate your time and,
Yeah, me
your
too.
tidbits of
Thank you.
information. I think it's really interesting with your business model of doing consignment and like you said, um, create these accounts in different parts of the world, so it gives you a reason to go travel. My dream is to do like, we're gonna do Santa Fe Fashion Week, Fashion Behind the Curtain in October during the balloon fiesta. But the truth of the matter, I just want to be like a digital nomad where I just travel around, interview people in the fashion industry, and maybe host fashion shows throughout the country, maybe even the world. But I think I share that same passion with you where you want to
Yeah.
create something really cool and then maybe use that as a means to travel as well.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? We'll see each other in like Tokyo or something,
That
and
that'd be
then
yeah, I'll take you up on that. That'd be amazing.
and
Well, on that
I
on
would
that
love
note,
to
if
have
you
your show.
yeah, yeah, like I said, it's gonna be October. It's like I said, it's gonna be more of an immersive show,
Hmm.
rather than a runway show. Having a space where it's gonna be an art gallery, but where people could engage with the fashion rather than the fashion being up on the runway. I think that's to me, it's a little bit played out. So I'm really excited
Yeah,
about that. So it's like
yeah, it's like really nice and so exciting. I would really like. I get so caught up with my New York hustle, but like if there's a chance, I would really like. There would be an opportunity. I hope that we can collaborate sometime.
that'd be awesome. If anybody's whoever's watching or listening, it's just Santa Fe SantaFeFashionWeek.com if you want more information about that, and then Fashion Podcast Connect. But no, I really, like I said, I really appreciate your time. And if anybody's listening and they're in the fashion industry and like to connect with me, reach out to me, and we'd love to have you as a guest on our pat on a past
Yeah,
on a podcast. I'm
thank
spelling
you
in
for
there.
having
Well,
me.
thank you so much, Tracy. I appreciate you, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you everyone for listening.